Hello and welcome. This is Notibot ENG. Good evening. I'm your anchor, Name. Tonight, we bring you a special report on escalating tensions in the Middle East. The situation with Iran has taken a dramatic turn, with reports emerging of an Iranian oil tanker being seized by U.S. forces in the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia is facing a new threat from Houthi rebels, who vow to sever their oil exports. We'll break down the latest developments and bring you updates on U.S.-Iran talks. Let's dive into the story now. Tensions are rising in the Middle East as a devastating conflict escalates between Iran and its arch-rivals, with Saudi Arabia at the epicenter. Tensions in the Middle East have escalated with reports that Houthi rebels are threatening to sever Saudi oil exports. The threat was reported by the South China Morning Post, citing sources familiar with the situation. According to the report, the Houthis have set their sights on three key targets: a pipeline leading from Saudi Arabia to the Red Sea, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, and an export terminal in Fujairah, United Arab Emirates. The latter is located outside of the Gulf, but its strategic location makes it a critical choke point for oil shipments. Saudi Arabia has been relying heavily on the Red Sea port of Yanbu, which has become the kingdom's main export route since its main Gulf terminal at Ras Tanura was shut down by the Iran conflict. The terminal, often referred to as the world's largest oil terminal, has been a key supplier of crude oil to global markets. The threat from the Houthis is significant because it could disrupt global energy supplies and drive up prices. Saudi Arabia has pledged to defend its interests in the region and has been working with other Gulf states to strengthen their military capabilities. The conflict between Iran and Saudi Arabia, as well as the involvement of Houthi rebels, has been ongoing for years, but recent tensions have increased significantly. The international community is watching closely to see how this situation plays out, particularly given its potential impact on global energy markets. Following a tense escalation in the region, Iran has accused President Donald Trump's administration of piracy after the U.S. Navy seized a tanker near key shipping lanes. The U.S. has seized an Iranian-flagged tanker in the Gulf of Oman, prompting Iran's military to accuse the U.S. of armed piracy and vow a swift response. The incident has sparked tensions between the two nations, with both sides trading blame for the attack. According to the U.S. President Donald Trump, the tanker was seized while it attempted to pass through an American blockade on Iranian ports. Trump claimed that U.S. forces stopped the ship by blowing a hole in its engine room, and that they now have full custody of the vessel, which is reportedly carrying a large quantity of oil. Iran's military has disputed this account, saying that the tanker was boarded by U.S. forces without permission and that the U.S. had violated the ceasefire agreement. The incident comes as Iran and the U.S. are engaged in fragile peace talks, with Trump having threatened to strike Iranian civilian infrastructure if his demands are not met. The latest development has raised concerns about the potential for escalation between the two nations, which have a long history of conflict. The seizure of the tanker has also sparked fears that it could disrupt global oil supplies and trigger a wider crisis in the region. As tensions continue to rise, experts warn that the situation is precarious and that a miscalculation by either side could lead to devastating consequences. With the UK police investigating a series of arson attacks on Jewish sites in London attributed to Iranian proxies, the international community is on high alert for any signs of escalation. Meanwhile, a new diplomatic push is underway as the United States is mobilizing a high-level delegation to meet with Iranian officials in Pakistan. The United States and Iran are set to engage in another round of talks over a potential ceasefire extension in Pakistan. U.S. President Donald Trump announced on Monday that his delegation will be heading to Islamabad for these discussions. According to reports, this development comes as the current ceasefire is scheduled to expire by Wednesday. The fragile truce has been holding since last month's escalation in tensions following the killing of Iranian Major General Qasem Soleimani by a U.S. drone strike. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani has expressed skepticism about extending the ceasefire, citing concerns over the safety and security of Iran's naval forces operating in the region. Meanwhile, U.S. officials have emphasized their commitment to finding a mutually acceptable solution that addresses both countries' interests. Pakistan is seen as an unlikely mediator in this process, given its complex relations with both Washington and Tehran. The Pakistani government has been working behind the scenes to facilitate dialogue between the two sides, with Islamabad's ambassador to Iran, Sajjad Karim, reportedly playing a key role in brokering talks. The talks in Pakistan mark another attempt to address the long-standing standoff between the U.S. and Iran over issues such as the Strait of Hormuz. The region has seen heightened tensions since 2019, when U.S. forces killed Soleimani, sparking retaliatory attacks by Iranian missiles on Saudi Arabia's oil facilities. With time running out before the ceasefire expires, there is growing hope that these talks may help to ease the crisis and prevent further escalation in the region. A top official in Tehran has issued a stark warning on Iran's stance towards the strategic waterway, sparking global concern once again. Tensions are escalating in the Middle East as Iran solidifies its control over the Strait of Hormuz, a critical waterway that connects the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman. Ebrahim Azizi, a senior Iranian lawmaker and former commander in the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, has made it clear that Tehran will not relinquish its authority over this strategic passage. The Strait of Hormuz is a vital artery for global oil and gas trade, with millions of barrels of crude oil passing through it every day. Iran's control of the strait gives it significant leverage in negotiations with other nations. Azizi's comments came as Iran introduced a bill in parliament that would enshrine its right to decide on permissions for vessels to pass through the strait. The implications of this move are far-reaching, with economists warning of growing economic shocks worldwide if the strait is closed. The U.S. and other Western countries have been seeking ways to mitigate these effects, but Azizi's comments suggest that Tehran will not be easily swayed. Mohammad Eslami, a research fellow at the University of Tehran, explains that Iran sees its control of the Strait of Hormuz as a long-term strategic advantage. The first priority for Iran after the war is to restore deterrence, and the Strait of Hormuz is among Iran's principal strategic leverages, he says. Azizi's comments reflect the thinking of hardline decision-makers in Tehran, who are increasingly militarized and dominated by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The U.S. and other nations have been trying to negotiate with Iran over its actions in the region, but Azizi's stance suggests that talks may be for show. With tensions running high, it remains to be seen whether Iran will actually follow through on its threat to close the Strait of Hormuz. A senior Iranian official has sparked international concern by reaffirming Tehran's unwavering stance on the future of a crucial waterway in the Middle East. We're seeing a significant escalation in Iran's stance on controlling the Strait of Hormuz, a critical waterway that connects the Persian Gulf to the open sea. According to Ebrahim Azizi, a former commander in Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, Tehran will not give up its control over this strategic passage. In an interview with the BBC, Azizi stated that it's their inalienable right, and that Iran is introducing a bill in parliament to enshrine this control in law. This development comes as worry mounts about the closure of the strait, which has the potential to cause significant economic shocks worldwide. The U.S. and other nations have long relied on this waterway for maritime traffic, including critical oil and gas tankers. Iranian officials see the strait as a key strategic leverage after the war, with Mohammad Eslami, a research fellow at the University of Tehran, explaining that the first priority for Iran after the war is to restore deterrence, and the Strait of Hormuz is among Iran's principal strategic leverages. Ebrahim Azizi also acknowledged that other nations can benefit from Iran's new framework for the strait, but control is the top priority. This shift in rhetoric highlights the increasingly militarized nature of the new Iranian order, with hardliners dominating parliament and the IRGC playing a significant role. The implications are far-reaching, with the potential to disrupt global oil supplies and create economic instability worldwide. As tensions continue to escalate, it's clear that this crisis is not a short-term affair and will require careful diplomatic efforts to resolve. That's all for today's news recap. We'll continue to bring you updates on the escalating tensions between Iran and its adversaries. Thank you for watching. If you want to stay up to date with the latest news, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. We'll see you in the next video.